Well, in this video, we're talking about crabgrass. I don't know a single person that actually likes crabgrass. I'm going to show you crabgrass, and we're going to test out 3 different products in the lawn, and we're going to see which one actually does the best job of controlling mature crabgrass. We're going to also talk about some other strategies to control crabgrass and try to, hopefully, by the end of this video, give you a complete crabgrass strategy that you know what to do, how to identify crabgrass, how to kill crabgrass, how to keep crabgrass from coming back on your yard next year. Hopefully you're going to figure all that out in today's video. Today's video is sponsored by Graham Spray Equipment. They've been sponsoring me for a long time, and I really appreciate that. You see the 400-gallon rig on the back of my truck. This is what I use to run my weed control and fertilization business. If you need a spray rig, go to grahamse.com or give those guys a call. How about I introduce you to the products? We go out there and check out some crabgrass. I give you some crabgrass tips, how to control it, and then we spray it and we see by the end of this video which one of these products is going to work the best. Here's our products. You can see here we've got Solitaire. We've got, this is a generic quinclorac product by Harrells. And then we've got Tribute Total. Now let's talk about these 3 products briefly. Solitaire, active ingredients, you see there right there on the screen. Quinclorac, sulfentrazone. Quinclorac is kind of the active ingredient that we typically, in my mind at least, think is the post-emergent for crabgrass. When I say post-emergent, it means the weed is already there in your lawn. What can we do to kill it? Now, a pre-emergent, we want to get down and water it in before that weed germinates. So we're talking today mostly about post-emergent crabgrass control, but we can also talk to you about pre-emergent as well. So this is Solitaire. This is supposed to be one of the best products for post-emergent crabgrass control. We're going to test it against this Harrells quinclorac product and sort of a generic quinclorac product, same active ingredient as this. This one does not have the sulfentrazone in there, a little bit different formulation. So I personally will be very curious to see how these 2 compare against each other. And the last one, I expect honestly the worst results, not because it's not a good product, just as Tribute Total. It works great, and it should give us some results. I think we'll get some suppression. I've got Tribute Total mixed in here with the Dismiss, which is the sulfentrazone, and that's something I use for like grassy weeds in general. It's a good combo I use on Dallas grass. I just want to see how it does on crabgrass. Again, this would not be my go-to product for crabgrass, but it'll at least give us a third sample that we can compare with the 2 quinclorac products, which I would consider to be our head-to-head matchup that I'm most interested to see results on. All right, let's learn a little bit about crabgrass. Crabgrass in most areas, including my area, I'd say most, is an annual weed, meaning that it's going to die off when the cold weather gets here. It's a warm season annual. So when it gets cold this fall, for me, probably, I don't know, November, when we get a first frost, then the crabgrass, I believe, will die. I think just about every bit of it will be gone. And then next year, I believe, if I remember correctly, when the soil temperatures get to around 55 degrees is when the crabgrass starts to germinate. So these plants here, they're gonna die, they're gonna drop seeds. Those seeds are gonna try to grow next year. We wanna keep that from happening by putting out a timely pre-emerge application next year. Now, where I live near Birmingham, Alabama, I give you soil temperatures. I don't think everybody's out there measuring the temperature of their soil, okay? But for me, practically speaking, Birmingham, Alabama market, that's usually sometime in March. So I want to get that pre-emerge down usually in January or February and get it watered in before that March germination period happens for crabgrass. Now let's say I missed out on that window and the crabgrass is already germinated, or some customer calls me late March or into April. What do I do in that situation? Well, you got a couple options. You could go with a product called Dimension, and that Dimension is going to have both pre and post-emergent activity on crabgrass. So if the crabgrass is already germinated, is real young, hopefully it can knock it out. If it hasn't germinated, hopefully it's going to control it. If it hasn't germinated yet, or if it already has germinated, it's in those early life stages. In that situation, a lot of times I'll mix prodiamine mixed with quinclorac. I'm thinking, well, if it hadn't germinated, hopefully prodiamine will get it. If it has germinated, hopefully quinclorac will get it. typically speaking, like a lot of weeds, if I can get it early in the life cycle, it's going to be easier to control than in the middle of summer. Or late in the life cycle can be easier to control. But oftentimes as we get close to fall, I'm not too worried about it because I know the winter weather is going to knock it out. All right, Bermuda grass lawn looks pretty good. You see here, what do we got over here? This is what happens when you get crabgrass. Look how nasty that looks. I mean, does that look terrible or what? Now, why in the world would there be almost no crabgrass in almost all this except over here? Well, there's a few theories and things that we can do to hopefully help prevent crabgrass. But for this situation, it's a good situation because it gives us some plots to test on. We got plenty of crabgrass here. There's crabgrass over there. There's crabgrass over here. So we got a lot of plots that we can test, and we'll flag these with 3 different plots here and spray them and see what kind of results we get. Now, there's a few things worth mentioning here. One is not all crabgrass is created equal. I've actually created similar videos this in the past where I would go spray crabgrass, and I don't understand all the different kinds of crabgrass. So there's some types that I would spray, and 2 days later, it was just like a blowtorch went on that thing, and it was crunchy brown. I don't actually expect that to happen. I'm not sure what kind of crabgrass that is, but I'm getting a strong suspicion that's not going to be the easy kind to kill. So if it doesn't turn crunchy brown in 2 days, that doesn't mean the kind that you're spraying in your yards is not going to turn crunchy brown in 2 days. There could be some variations of different types of crabgrass. As a matter of fact, I know there is. I just don't know how to identify all the different ones. Another thing is, make sure that you understand that you're actually spraying crabgrass. I probably should go out there and show you the seed head. Maybe that's one way. When you compare crabgrass like goosegrass and Dallas grass and Bahia grass, you know, they really are not that hard to tell apart at all when you see them side by side. So, you know, try to avoid saying stuff like that all just looks like weeds to me, or it's all just grass. You know, there really is. It's not so like saying red and blue look the same, but it's not too different from that. There's a noticeable difference, and when you look at the seed head, of course, they're pretty easy to tell apart. And one thing I would encourage you to do is learn to identify what dead crabgrass looks like, and this will be helpful for you in your own yard, but also if you're in the business. And the reason being, I was talking to my friend James recently. He was like, I can tell what dead, you know, nut sedge look like from the year 4, and I was like, I don't know if I got that yet, but I can tell what dead crabgrass looks like, because when I pull up on a yard, let's just say I pull up on a yard in February, and somebody calls me, and the yard looks real thin and nasty, and there's all these brown patches all over the yard. But what I want to know by looking at it is, did this yard have a ton of crabgrass in it last year? Because if it did, I can pretty well understand that if I don't do anything, it's going to have a ton of crabgrass in it this year as well. Now, if this yard had been treated for 10 years and, you know, you skipped 1 year on your pre-emergent early in the year, you're probably not going to get killed with crabgrass. You might have a little bit, but if it had tons of crabgrass last year, it's probably going to have tons this year if you don't do anything to stop it. Other thing I want to mention is something I learned more about recently is, I think it might be a good idea, especially I'm talking about Bermuda grass here, if we waited a little later before we scalp it down. So sometimes I get a little ambitious. I'll scalp my lawn in February, and I think, not that that's a horrible idea. There's a couple things wrong with that. Maybe if you do it and you get an early green up, but then we get a late frost, it kind of ruins your early green up, and you end up with an early brown up, if you will. It zaps it and turns it brown. If you scalp it right before crabgrass starts to germinate, then you just got all this open dirt there. You know how thin Bermuda can be, especially when you scalp it down with dirt. So maybe it would be a better idea for those with Bermuda grass, warm seeding turf, if we just waited a little bit later till that crabgrass window started to close. I'm thinking, you know, mid to late March. Crabgrass may still be germinating it, but you know what I'm saying, just don't expose your turf so early in the season so that you just got all this barrier. Because one thing that I think is not rocket science is, we look out at a yard and you see some nice thick grass. Let's just say it had half the yard was zoysia, it's real thick, and then you had some scraggly Bermuda that was real thin. Well, where do you think most of the weeds are going to be? It's going to be in that thin turf. So if we can have nice, thick, healthy turf, obviously going to do a lot to help keep the weeds out. All right, not talking about that. I'm going to spray the weeds. We're going to check back. I've got little flags. I can mark which area I sprayed which product on. and then we're gonna see which one works the best. Thank you. All right, I got the 3 different plots sprayed, got them marked. Also, I sprayed a different little section just with a quinclorac because I want to see if that's like a different variety of crabgrass. It's going to be interesting if that one just withers up and dies in 2 days and this one doesn't die. I did not use methylated seed oil, which could have helped it. So just understand this application was done in late August, which sometimes can be really hot weather. But fortunately today was very overcast. The high today was like 79. So I think it was a good day for it. I'll be curious to see how well it works. We cause any damage to grass, all the questions. So we'll be checking back soon and see what kind of results we can get. So we're about 5 days after the initial application. Let's see what the results look like so far. All right, first up, we've got the Tribute Total and Dismiss combo. Now the Dismiss is gonna give us some quick burn down, which we did get, but I mean, maybe we're getting a little bit more than that. You can see it did maybe a slightest discoloration to the Bermuda grass, but look what it did to the crabgrass. So it's not dead, but I just wanted to give you a comparison. It's definitely doing something. Now compare that with one that was not treated. This is what the green crabgrass looks like. Move over here to our next plot, and we definitely got some action on this one. So this was the quinclorac product, just the Harrells quinclorac product. And you can see what we got here. Extreme discoloration there. And I'm encouraged to see the Bermuda grass is still looking pretty good. You scroll over here and see what the non-treated crabgrass looks like. So definitely got some good results on that. And then you move over here to the Solitaire, and it's going to be very similar results, looks like so far. Now again, I think this is a difficult crabgrass to control, but you can see what we're getting with the Solitaire. So far, I don't see much differentiation between the Solitaire versus the other quinclorac product. I want to give this a few more days, but I do want to go check. Remember, I sprayed one more plot over here and just want to see maybe if it's a different variety of crabgrass, if it makes a difference. I'm not sure if it was a different variety, but let's go look at the one other one that I did spray. And you can see that it almost completely dominated this piece of crabgrass right here, and plenty of green Bermuda grass still to be seen, but all this brown was the crabgrass plant. I did want to mention that I'm offering a 12-month mentoring program. This is for people that want to get into weed control and fertilization like me with warm season grasses. If you're looking to make that jump but don't know how to do it, I have a 1-year program that we're walking through with access to me through text messages, phone calls. We do every other week live coaching calls. This is a great option for those that are looking to make that jump, weed control and fertilization. The first link in the description is you can book a free 15-minute call with me to see if it's going to be a good fit. Let's give it just a little bit more time. We'll check back in a few days and wrap up the video. So it's time to wrap up the crabgrass video. Let's take a look at what the crabgrass looks like. I've given it several more days since the last checkup. Now here's some untreated green healthy crabgrass here. You can see it's even got the seed head here if you need help identifying it by seed head, and you can see what the crabgrass looks like. Now let's start off with the one where we spray with the Tribute Dismiss combo. And again, you can see maybe just getting some decent suppression to keep it from growing back as much, and just wanted to compare the results we're getting with the quinclorac product. Now the Harrells quinclorac product, you can see here, the results we got, I would say that's basically what I would classify as 100% control. You can see the green Bermuda grass and the brown crabgrass totally dominated the weed. Another example of untreated crabgrass here. And as we move over here to the Solitaire example, again, there may be just the slightest bit of green in there that's left over on the crabgrass, but I would say again, we got essentially, now there is just a little bit there, very, very good control with this product as well. Let me go check on the one other plot that we did spray before we wrap up the video. Again, here's the other plot that we did spray as well, and you can see we got total control on this as well with green Bermuda grass coming up through. So what conclusions can we draw from a test like this? Well, one thing, and this is what I was really curious to see, I didn't notice an improvement necessarily from the Solitaire versus the quinclorac. Now, does that mean that the Solitaire is not as good? I think it was just as effective in this situation. and there may be some situations where it performs better, but in this specific test, I don't think it outperformed just the regular quinclorac product that we were testing up against. Again, the tribute total didn't perform as well, but I didn't expect it to. Another thing that I drew from this is I think I sprayed that same area of crabgrass earlier in the summer and did not get nearly as good a result. So I think it just reinforced in my mind that obviously a pre-emergent application before the crabgrass germinates is our ideal strategy. If you don't get that, then trying to get it early in the life cycle is our next best strategy. After that, it seems like, and this is just in my mind the way the timing goes, if you wait until August, which is kind of late in the life cycle, at least in my area, then you have better results than if you were to spray it in June or July. So I was something I hope I can remember that from this experiment myself, because again, I don't think I got nearly as good a result spraying it earlier this year. I like to see these results on video. I hope they're helpful for you as well. If you want to get into weed control and fertilization like me, there's a lot of resources over at lawncarelife.com. There's a Weed Control and Fertilization Academy, which is a video course I've been selling for a long time. There's also a 12-month mentoring program. So if you want to be mentored by me for 12 months, you're looking to get into weed control and fertilization, and you need some help, then you can sign up for that. It's the first link in the description there. You can book a 15-minute call with me for free, and we can talk about it, see if it's a good fit. If you're just a homeowner and you want to have a beautiful Bermuda or zoysia lawn, there's a resource over there at lawncarelife.com as well. It's the Bermuda Zoysia Academy, which is reasonably priced and a great resource to give you a good plan for your Bermuda or zoysia lawn. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that, you might also enjoy these other videos popping up for you now. See you in the next one.